Oh man. All right, it is a new day.
It is.
And we've got this thing turned around now.
Yeah,
because we're gonna start working on the ass end of it.
We got all the little things done on it. Fuel lines fixed, the doors swapped out, and kind of planned what we need to do next as far as the rear end goes and a cage eventually.
Yeah. I mean, we've done everything that we can up to this point, and now comes like the fun stuff of hitting things with hammers and cutting stuff with sawzalls and.
So we're just gonna kind of bulldoze
tools.
our way through this and just start cutting panels off that we don't need. Start cutting off the floor, cutting off the rear bumper.
Just gonna get rid of structure, you know, no big deal.
Or what's left.
So ultimately, the goal is to try and make this side look kind of similar to that side in the manner of like how Sean Connery looks like Alex Trebek, in the fact that they're just both human men.
They're both old white guys?
They're just both old white guys. So if you can use that kind of a metric, that's what we're aiming for. They don't need to look identical. We're just going for awkwardly similar. So we're gonna try and make this thing a little less dented and pull that out. It's still gonna be wrinkled as hell. So that's where I get Alex Trebek and Sean Connery, because they're both wrinkled as hell. So we'll see where this goes. And if we have issues with that, if we find that the hammers and the, you know,
cutting
testicle fortitude doesn't quite do it, we've got another option. We've got a contingency plan that
plan B.
utilizes a little more force. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the plan. We're gonna start by just removing this taillight.
And hacking stuff up.
I actually got it when I reached back there. And yeah, cutting some panels apart and you know, all that kind of stuff. So that is the start of it. We're gonna do that right now.
$300 for a taillight.
It was wrapped up on itself. Look at that.
Yes, there we go. Right where it needs to be, right?
It's pulled out a little bit. There's a lot more to do yet. There's the back side up a ton too. So now we can do our work with hammers. right, so we are at a point where we're going to start doing a bit of fabrication in the back here. So we've got a box frame to build.
Yeah, we got the rear end cut out. At this point, we're just going to kind of measure off what's there from the factory still, or what we can use from the factory, and like I said, build a box.
Yep, so what we're going to do is we're going to try and work with, we've got an existing frame rail on that side that's really not existing a whole lot anymore because it's pretty rotten.
It gives us a line to go.
But exactly, so we'll kind of like, we'll lean our box tubing up against the side of that, and that'll kind of give us a kind of an idea of where this thing's going to follow, and then we'll replicate that on the other side. So we've got to be cognizant of a few different things, like we've got a gas tank filler tube that we're going to have to be careful of. That side, I mean, we don't have too much to worry about on that side. That's relatively easy.
We have some rust, so we'll have to be a little careful on where we tie into everything. But
yeah, so basically, like, this is a game of trying to figure out where the good steel is so we can tie everything together. So there'll be a lot of plug welding, a lot of stitch welding, like, we'll be adding in a bunch of sheet metal to try and tie a lot of things together. Especially like this, which is just a floppy mess. A little less messy than it was.
I can see the floor through this side.
And we discovered that side's all holy. So we got a little bit of work to do with fabrication, but we're going to get into that right now. So the first step we're going to do is measuring once and cutting twice of the our frame rails here. So we'll do that now. Let's get into it. Come here. What we're gonna do, because we don't have a whole lot of specifics to go off of with this thing. We've got a stock frame rail that actually tapers a little bit, rather points kind of off to the outside of the car, so it's not perfectly square with the car itself. So that throws an added challenge into figuring out all of our angles to get these two frame rails at a similar angle coming up the back of the car. So we just have a couple ballpark measurements right now, but we know for a fact that we've got 28.5 inches if these are snugged up against the frame rails on the car on the back, towards the front of the vehicle. So we know this is the back of the car, this is towards the front. We know that 28.5 inches is going to be our measurement for that part. So what we're going to do, we're going to tack piece of steel on as a brace, so that's going to keep that back measurement static, and then we're going to just take a bunch of clamps and we're going to kind of clamp it up to the car, and unfortunately we're going to have to kind of use the calibrated eyeball to see if the driver's side frame rail that we're making is going to match the angle of the passenger side. I'm just going to keep getting those wrong. The passenger side frame rail that gets to hug the stock one that's already there. So it's not a perfect science by any stretch, but we're kind of using a car that's a mangled mess. So there isn't a whole lot of perfect science to we need to imitate the frame rail as much as we can. So we'll try it that way.
really sturdy now.
What we doing, bro?
So we have our bracing in, and ow. It's sharp on the corner. Do not smack the corner. So we have our bracing in. It's a lot more sturdy now. And at this point, we're ready to put our flooring in. We're gonna just try and keep it as simple as possible. And most likely, we're just gonna rivet it. There's nothing to really weld to in this, as you can tell by the giant hole that's in this area. So yeah, let's get into it.
All of them.
Use that side for this side, and then we'll use this haggard side for this haggard side.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Just show torches. Just gonna shove it in there. What are you doing by hand?
So we don't have a nice bending brake yet. At some point we'll probably either build one or purchase one to keep here. But even in that instance, we're not gonna, well, I guess like maybe we'd build a 4-footer. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe someday we'll have a 4-foot bending brake in here, which would be awesome. We don't now. So what we're gonna do is, just like we did on the trike build and how we bent up the steel for the facade, so that nice gloss black plate that went over the chassis and just kind of hid a lot of our welding and stuff like that underneath. What we did was we got this big thick 10 gauge steel, and we just clamp it down. We use that as the bending point right here. So we're just gonna do that exact same thing with this. This is actually even thinner steel than we were using for the facade, so we'll just bend it by hand. But someday we'll have fancier tools. Someday.
Put it back on the table. I'll grab gloves and I'll give you a hand.
Yeah. Or do we want to actually use these 3 points here?
know, we have to get out of this still.
Yeah, we're fine. I make sure to lock the door.
Sweet.
Well, it's kind of uncomfortable because you can't really, you can kind of rest your stomach.
Yeah, you gotta do Sphinx. I gotta slide further forward, my elbows, put my head. Oh god, that's way worse if I slide further forward.
Yeah. All right. Well, the floor is done now, and obviously we trusted enough to lay on it.
Yeah, it's rather solid considering what we had to work with.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're ready for our sleepover.
So if anyone's got some blankets and pillows, stop on by.
Some what?
Blankets and pillows.
Pillow. You said pillow right this time.
I always say pillows.
You usually say pillow.
I said pillow.
It's
Whatever.
you Kansas boys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and on the next episode we start building some bumpers. Finger guns. Pew, 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 pew.
Hopefully you shoot like a trooper then when you miss the camera.
Yeah, right? Starship Trooper? Different movie. Whatever. Bye-bye. Dude, wouldn't that get prickly in the winter? If you had nails sticking out of a soccer ball that was overinflated. You have a porcupine for a ball bag.
Yeah, pretty much.
The big floppy blue wiener. Hello!
Not a big deal.
You sew your asshole closed to keep feeding you and feeding you.
I'll say whatever I want to say. It's America.
I listen to a lot of Wu-Tang Clan. Go in and out and flop around.
Don Ness, if you're watching, send us an email.
Get away from me! Hi!
Hello there.
Hi.
Oh, you're still here?
Hi.
It's
Oh.
over.